Lin Huai ran away from the wedding before the ceremony. In my previous life, his female confidante killed herself on our wedding night, making him regret it for the rest of his life. Why are you still alive? To get revenge on me? He tormented me my whole life, even personally feeding me a sterilization drug. So, after his rebirth, he couldn't wait to abandon me and find Ku Huanyan. So, I also ran away from the wedding. Dressed in my red wedding gown, I knocked on the door of the cold and solitary General Lin's household. I mistook you for someone else before, but since the ceremony hasn't happened yet, will you marry me? Just as I was thinking about how to escape the wedding, my maidservant Shiyu came in from outside, grumbling and cursing. What could be more important than the wedding ceremony? Isn't this obviously bullying? I was stunned. According to the original schedule, I should be in the wedding hall completing the ceremony with Lin Huai right now. But as soon as I entered, I was led here by the Lin family members to wait. The red dates bought by the servants weren't plump enough, so the young master sent someone to buy new ones. The auspicious hour hasn't arrived yet anyway, so please wait a moment, young madam. That was how the household steward explained it. This didn't happen in my previous life, so I had Shiyu go investigate. Where did he go? Seeing me ask, Shiyu became so angry her eyes turned red. They say he went to Jai Chun house. We're the legitimate daughter of the minister's mansion after all. How can he do this? She had a point. I put down my round fan, smiling so much my eyes curved. He won't come back. Let's go. Shiyu stared at me in disbelief. Remember to have all the dowry carried away. I'll step out for a bit. Miss, Shiyu's voice couldn't stop me. Under the watchful eyes of everyone in the Duke's manor, I came to the main hall. Since young Lord Lin is unwilling, let's just call off the marriage. The frantic Duke Lin and his wife were frozen in place by my words. I took the opportunity to slip off the white jade bracelet from my hand and placed it in the madam's hands. This is a Lin family heirloom. I can't keep it. Until I left, it remained dead silent behind me. Just as I stepped out the door, Duke Lin's voice suddenly came from behind. Miss Ava, please wait a moment. This old man has already sent people to drag that unfilial son back, and will certainly give you an explanation. My expression froze for a moment. Then I lifted my skirt and ran faster than anyone. A crowd had gathered at the entrance of Jai Chun Pavilion. Lin Huai held Ku Huanyan with reddened eyes, his face full of relief at having recovered what was lost. It is okay now, as long as you are fine. His voice choked with emotion as he pressed his forehead against hers in front of everyone. Ku Huanyan's eyes were brimming with tears, looking pitiful and delicate. Huai Lang, what a deeply affectionate couple. If I weren't the future young lord's consort, I would definitely go up and sigh in admiration too. In my previous life, Ku Huanyan died on this day. Lin Huai hastily left on our wedding night and didn't return until dawn. He choked my neck and said coldly, "Why are you still alive?" I didn't understand back then, thinking he was just grieving too much, and even thoughtfully had the servants prepare sobering soup for him. Who knew he was convinced that I was feeling guilty? No matter how I explained afterward, he never believed me. If you hadn't sent people to gossip in front of Huanyan, how could she have taken that desperate path? She was alone and helpless in the capital. Falling into the world of pleasure wasn't her choice either. How can you, as a woman, have no compassion at all? From then on, Ku Huanyan's death became a nail of shame on me. Very well. It seems in this life, he has also experienced rebirth. I turned and walked to the innermost house on East Street, raising my hand to knock on the door. Here lived General Lin, Duke Lin's illegitimate younger brother, who had just moved out from the manor recently. He was about the same age as Lin Huai, the old duke's illegitimate son born outside. Zhao niece-in-law. The door was opened and Lin's expression showed a moment of surprise. After all this commotion, it was already sunset. Golden light fell on his stern face, adding some warmth. It looked just like how he sat before my grave in my previous life. But back then, he clearly called me Jun. Lin Huai has run away from the wedding, went to Zhaichun Tower to find his fair confidant. Lin Lin's expression shifted slightly, immediately furrowing his brows. I leaned against the doorframe, spreading my hands. I've also run away from the wedding. His pupils contracted, and his expression changed a few more shades. Everyone says General Lin is cold-faced and cold-hearted, an iron-faced king of hell. Don't even think about reading emotions from his face. But in just a short while, his expression had already changed several times. What are you doing here? I said rather helplessly. The emperor issued a decree granting marriage, having me marry into the Lin family. Now Lin Huai is tainted, I don't want him anymore. After thinking it over, General Lin seems more suitable. I just don't know, are you interested? Lin stared at me for quite a while. He squeezed out 2 words. Why? I just said, General is a Lin family member, and I am to marry a Lin family member. I know this is a bit abrupt. General can think it over some more. If it really won't work, I'll look among the Lin family's branch families. Perhaps I can find someone suitable there too. I let out a sigh, sorrow written all over my face. How can there be such an unlucky woman like me in this world? Before even completing the wedding ceremony, my husband was already getting all handsy with someone else. If it were an ordinary person, I could let it go. But it just had to be a woman from the pleasure quarters. Where am I supposed to put my face in the future? Before I could finish my rambling, Lin interrupted me. Fine. I'll have someone prepare the betrothal gifts. I instantly raised my head, somewhat eager. The betrothal gifts can wait. Let's do the wedding ceremony first. After saying that, I pushed Lin aside and headed into the courtyard. He followed behind me, watching helplessly as I barged into his bedroom and opened the wardrobe. Why are they all plain-colored clothes? Isn't there anything more festive? This one's okay, barely has a bit of red. When I turned around holding the clothes, Lin's facial muscles twitched, and for quite a while he couldn't squeeze out a single word. I pushed him to go change clothes. By the time he came out, I had already sent the mansion's servants to buy red silk. The wedding hall was very simple, but I wasn't picky. Lin looked troubled. How about we wait a bit longer? I was stunned, my face falling. But I've had my fortune told. Getting married today is the best timing. I can't miss this auspicious day. Could it be that General Lin regrets it and doesn't want to marry me? Number, he quickly replied. I hurriedly handed him the other end of the red silk, afraid he might change his mind. Just as we finished the ceremony, my parents and the people from the Duke's mansion came looking for us. Zhao Juyun. What are you doing? Mother pointed at me, so angry her eyes rolled back, and she nearly fainted. Father's expression was also extremely ugly. Duke Lin glared at Lin even harder, saying ill-temperedly, Miss Zhao is young and ignorant, but don't you understand? Going along with this nonsense. She was supposed to marry your nephew today. The 2 of them went through all the proper matchmaking and betrothal gifts, completed the formal rites, yet you as the uncle are so shameless. Not to mention, she is a young lady. If her reputation is ruined by you, how is she supposed to survive? The words fell like heavy punches. Bang, bang, bang. Lin furrowed his brows tightly, replying coldly. They hadn't bowed at the wedding hall yet, so the marriage doesn't count. When Lin Huai abandoned her in front of everyone, did he ever consider her reputation or her future survival? Casting aside her dignity and honor for a woman of the pleasure quarters, is this the morality and integrity of the Duke's manor? I turned my head in surprise. Although I could only see his resolute profile, I found him ridiculously handsome. I secretly slipped my hand into his palm and gave it a squeeze. Lin's whole body trembled. He turned to look at me, but quickly looked away, pretending nothing happened. Yet, he gently wrapped his hand around mine and spoke to the crowd with a powerful voice. Today's wedding was hastily arranged, and we couldn't prepare fine dishes. Please forgive the poor hospitality. The Duchess let out a cold snort. Is Miss Zhao certain she wants to marry him? This won't sound good when word gets out. And besides, the Emperor's decree. I am certain. Under my parents' knife-like gazes, I nodded. The imperial edict never specified it had to be young Lord Lin. Besides, the young Lord and Miss Q are deeply in love, inseparable like glue. A kind-hearted person like me couldn't bear to break up a pair of lovebirds naturally. I should help them be together, right? The Duchess's face turned cold. Since that is the case, the marriage between our two families is off. These words were directed at my parents. The two left right after speaking, and my parents couldn't catch up even if they tried. I couldn't help but feel relieved good thing it happened so fast. Otherwise, today, I might have been dragged back to complete the wedding ceremony. My parents have never protected me. In my previous life, when I begged my mother for help, she only said with a cold face, "It must be that you didn't do well enough that he treats you this way." Instead of properly reflecting on your own words and conduct, you dare to speak ill of your own husband. As she spoke, she glanced at my abdomen again. There is still no movement in this belly either. You need to hurry up. Having no children is a grave sin. Don't blame your mother for not warning you when the time comes. She kept telling me to treat my husband as the heavens, to be gentle and virtuous. I was obedient, well-behaved. Gu Huai drank and chatted merrily with his colleagues, until the third watch. I waited for his return in the cold wind, offering him a bowl of hot soup. But he turned and threw the hot soup at me, glaring at me with resentment. "Don't think I'll forgive you just because you put on this act. Zhao Zhouyan, you vicious woman." The scalding soup seeped through my clothes, burning my skin a deep red. He turned and went to the study. I worried the quilts in the study weren't enough. So I personally delivered more. But I saw him crying bitterly before Kuan Yin's portrait. I regret it. I should have been with you back then, regardless of everything. Pity our child wasn't even born before. But rest assured that Zhao Zhaoyan will never have my child in this lifetime. Whatever Huanyan didn't have, I won't let her have either. When the time comes, she'll only have the empty title of the main wife, left to be gossiped about for the rest of her life. The corridor in the depths of winter, the cold wind howling, yet none of it was as cold as my heart. So it turns out, as early as half a month into our marriage, the ginseng soup he rarely delivered to me with his own hands contained a sterility drug. With no way out, I begged my father. I begged him to let me divorce. I won't go back home. I won't burden the family. From now on, I'll just find a nunnery to spend the rest of my life. I beg Father to grant me this. He stared at me for a long time before speaking indifferently. Your brother's position still needs Duke Lin's support, and several of your half-sisters are still unmarried. Jian should be sensible. He sent me back. Father only remembered that I couldn't bear children. Within just a month, my half-sister in the manor was rolling around with Lin Huai. Father said, "Since you can't bear children, let her bear them. Sisters looking after each other isn't so bad." Unfilial daughter, a slap landed on my face, yanking me back from my daze. Father's face, livid with rage, loomed large before my eyes. "You've made our Zhao family lose all face. You shameless and brazen, not abiding by wifely duties. Disrespecting your parents, you." He wished he could use every filthy word in the world on me, until he couldn't think of any worse words, so he raised his hand again. But before it could fall, Lin grabbed his wrist. "Jian and I have already been wed tomorrow. At morning court, I will explain everything clearly to His Majesty. The required betrothal gifts will be compensated in full. Lord Zhao, please don't make things difficult for her. If you are angry, feel free to direct it at me. I am 5 years older than Jian. It was I who coveted her for a long time." Father glared over fiercely, yet constrained by Lin's current status, they ultimately didn't dare say much. "Look at the fine daughter you raised." He angrily pushed Mother aside and turned to leave. Mother anxiously paced in place, wanting to chase after Father, yet also looking at me. "Jian, you've disappointed me so much. Mother still chased after him. She never asked about the grievances I suffered at the Duke's mansion, as if she'd forgotten that Lin Huai had abandoned me first. But it doesn't matter. I still have myself. I remember the grievances I suffered, and I can choose a more suitable path for myself. Sorry you had to see that spectacle. Composing myself, I looked at Lin Lin with a smile. Jaehyun, if you don't want to smile, you don't have to. As soon as his words fell, I couldn't hold back my tears. Amidst his flustered expression, I threw myself straight into his arms. We're already husband and wife, surely a hug is allowed. Lin Lin stood stiffly, and after quite a while, finally placed his hand on my shoulder. But I actually fell asleep right there in his arms. When I woke up, it was already bright outside, and the household steward Uncle Meng came to pay his respects. The general has gone to court before leaving. He asked me to hand the household keys to Madam. The general also instructed that this residence was newly purchased, and many things are not yet equipped. If Madam has time, you may purchase some things you like. Madam may freely use the money and supplies in the treasury. If there is anything unclear, just ask us anytime. I took the account book and briefly flipped through it. The household staff is simple, but there is quite a bit of savings in the treasury. At this moment, Shiyu hurried in from outside, as if she still hadn't recovered from the shock. Miss Madam, you. I smiled. Yes, from now on you should call me Madam. Shiyu took a deep breath. Madam is truly acting recklessly. How are things with the Zhao family? At the mention of this, Shiyu's expression darkened. The master's meaning is that you offered yourself to his bed, disgracing the Zhao family, so all your original dowry will be taken back. And they're publicly declaring they don't have a daughter like you. My hand paused for a moment. Although it was expected, my heart still stung like being pricked by a needle. What did Mother say? I asked unwillingly. Shiyu shook her head. She said nothing. Forget it. I closed the account book. Come on, let's go buy a swing. Shiyu froze, then carefully glanced at me again. Seeing that I truly showed no sadness, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. The heart that should have been hurt was already broken completely in my past life. But I didn't expect Lin Huai to be waiting for me outside the door. Are you really going to marry my uncle? Do you know he is just the son of a mistress and the Lin family doesn't acknowledge him? I corrected him, not going to, but already have. We already performed the wedding ceremony yesterday. A flash of annoyance crossed Lin Huai's face as he said coldly, I know you were just furious yesterday and did this on purpose. If you two are still innocent, it is not too late to regret now. I will persuade father, and you will still be the young lord's wife. I don't regret it. Why should I regret? In my past life, I died before I even turned 30. When I was gravely ill, he was in my concubine-born sister's courtyard as a family of 4, eating lamb shipped from the north. Shiyu went to beg him to call a physician. Pests don't die that easily. Don't play these little tricks in the future. He thought I was being jealous, deliberately using my own body to threaten him. Just because my concubine-born sister said with a smile, everything good in the family always goes to the legitimate elder sister first. She has had a healthy body since childhood. How come as soon as she married into the Duke's manor, she has always been unwell? She and I are sisters. Naturally, I won't compete with her for these unnecessary favors. Just let her rest assured. Lin Huai, to punish my so-called jealousy, never allowed a physician to enter my courtyard again. When my high fever wouldn't subside, he made me kneel in the ancestral hall copying Buddhist scriptures to atone for Ku Huanyan. This is what you deserve. She died because of you. What a lovely died because of me. I never forced him to marry me, nor did I ever stop him from marrying Ku Huanyan. Everything was merely his own choice, yet in the end, he placed all the blame on me. Since heaven gave me a chance to start over, why should I regret? I feel disgusted just seeing him. Yesterday's actions were also out of necessity. It was a matter of life and death, and I had no time to make a better judgment. But I sincerely want to marry you as my wife. The position of young madam will only be reserved for you. I let out a cold laugh. Does young Master Lin think Miss Ku's status is too lowly to be the mistress of the Duke's manor? He froze, and only nodded after a long while. I glanced behind him. Ku Huanyan's swaying body in the cold wind looked like it could collapse at any moment. Huai Lang, she called out miserably, and Lin Huai's body trembled violently. Ku Huanyan quickly walked up to me and knelt straight down on the ground. It was I who didn't know better. Please, young madam, don't lower yourself to quarrel with someone as lowly as me. The Lin family originally lived in the innermost house on East Street, but her actions still attracted quite a few onlookers. Huanyan knows her sins deserve death. I don't ask for young madam's forgiveness. I only hope you can give me a chance to atone. I am willing to be a slave or servant, serving you wholeheartedly by your side. Tears streamed down like beads on a string, her bare face without makeup showing nothing but exhaustion. Lin Huai clenched both fists, his eyes filled with reluctance to see her suffer. How disgusting. Lin Huai gritted his teeth, as if making a great concession. You are the legal wife. The inner courtyard will still be under your control. Just consider it giving her a place to stay. How about it? He seemed certain that I wouldn't refuse. The Zhao Zhaoyun from my past life, who meekly accepted everything indeed, wouldn't have refused. But I am no longer the person I used to be. I refuse. Besides, I am already a married woman, and according to seniority, the Crown Prince should address me as his aunt. What, is your Duke's manner so lacking in morals? His expression suddenly changed, his gaze darkening. He is not even a member of our Lin family. We never let him be acknowledged in the ancestral records. Just a bastard born from a mistress. How could he? Before he could finish, my palm had already landed on his face. My hand really hurt from hitting him, truly thick-skinned. Huai Lang, what are you doing? Ku Huanyan hurriedly supported Lin Huai, glaring fiercely at me. On your wedding day, you turned around and got entangled with another man, showing no womanly virtue, no respect for elders. Huai Lang doesn't hold grudges and is willing to take you back. How can you be so ungrateful? Summonon like you, even if you became the young lord's consort, your virtue wouldn't match your position. I couldn't help but laugh. Me gaze swept over the crowd, craning their necks to watch the spectacle. Everyone, tell me, isn't it funny? A woman from the pleasure quarters lecturing me about womanly virtue. Besides, I am sure everyone saw it yesterday. It was clearly Lin Huai who abandoned me to be inseparable with Ku Huanyan. How did it become me being ungrateful? He violated propriety, disloyal and unrighteous. I really don't think much of this Duke's manner. Furthermore, the Empress Dowager's decree has already been issued. Is it up to young Lord Lin to decide whether my husband is part of the Lin family or not? A flash of vexation passed through Lin Huai's eyes. Though the Duke's mansion didn't want to acknowledge Lin Lin's identity, they also didn't dare to make a big fuss about it. If he said such things in public and word reached the palace, they'd have consequences to face. Quite lively. From outside the crowd, a scornful laugh came. Lin Lin was seen coming this way with the Crown Prince following behind him. Everyone parted to make way. Lin Lin shielded me behind him and looked over coldly. Young Lord Lin coming to my residence. What for? The wedding feast was yesterday. You've already missed it. If you are here to congratulate me and my wife, this general will accept your kindness. But if you have other intentions, young Lord Lin, you've come to the wrong place. Lin Huai's face turned ashen. Before he could speak, Ku Huanyan spoke up on her own. General, there is something you don't know. Your wife had her heart set on marrying young Lord Lin before. She suddenly changed her mind yesterday, probably with ulterior motives. Before Huanyan could finish, she was intimidated by Lin Lin's sharp gaze and froze right there. Who are you? Without waiting for her answer. He looked at Lin Huai again. So this is your sweetheart, trying to kill herself on someone else's wedding day. She really knows how to pick her timing. If she really wanted to die, she should have found a deserted place and gone quietly. The crown prince looked at Linlin in surprise, then couldn't hold back anymore and burst out laughing. It is rare to see this interesting side of you. After saying that, he coughed twice. Young Lord Lin, please go back. The past cannot be pursued. Miss Zhao is now another man's wife. Your visit here truly tarnishes the reputation of the old Duke Lin. Lin Huai's face paled a few shades. With the crown prince present, no matter how unwilling he was, he could only leave. Ku Huanyan hurriedly followed, but as soon as she grabbed his sleeve, she was viciously shaken off by him. Some people are really strange. They've clearly gone through rebirth once and got what they wished for, so why are they still so resentful? It wasn't until I went out with Shiyu that I understood where the problem lay. It turned out that yesterday's incident had already spread throughout the capital. Lin Huai had long since become a laughingstock. One is the legitimate daughter of a prestigious family, dignified and graceful, with a fine reputation, yet he just wouldn't have her and left her standing at the wedding hall. The other is a famous courtesan from Shaichun House. To put it nicely, she sells her art but not her body. But she is still a woman of the pleasure quarters after all, using such lowly tricks like crying, making a scene, and threatening to hang herself. Could young Lord Lin be a fool? He can't even see through this. If I were Miss Zhao, I wouldn't want him either. Being humiliated like this, how could one go on living in the future? Lin Huai isn't just a fool, he is also a coward. In my previous life, I only found out later that Ku Huanyan never actually intended to die back then. She had sent someone to notify Lin Huai, but was intercepted by the Duchess's servant woman. That is what accidentally led to her death. When I told him the truth, Lin Huai just looked at me coldly. If you hadn't been gossiping in front of her, how would she have gotten such ideas? Mother was thinking of me, but you, the future mistress of the house, can't even tolerate a desperate woman with nowhere else to go. How hateful. So he knew all along. But he didn't dare disobey the Duchess, nor did he want to blame her, so he pushed all the blame onto me. How ridiculous. I was still thinking of proving my innocence. Everyone's eyes are sharp. Who is right and who is wrong? Everyone knows it clear as a mirror. Madam, please don't take it to heart. Shiyu thought. I was grieving over Lin Huai's matter and quickly offered words of comfort, but I smiled and whispered a few instructions in her ear. Shiyu's whole body trembled. Her eyes filled with both disdain and a hint of excitement. This servant will go handle it right away. By the time I bought the swing and had it installed in the backyard, the rumors outside had already intensified. In my previous life, Lin Huai repeatedly claimed I had harmed his and Ku Huanyan's child. That is why he gave me the sterilizing drug. Since it was such joyous news, naturally it should be made known. The physician who took Ku Huanyan's pulse accepted Shiyu's silver and carelessly let the matter slip out. Ku Huanyan played along with the scheme and once again threatened death. How can I still have the face to go on living now? Lin Huai felt distressed and went to plead before the Duchess. Who knew he would be directly thrown out of the mansion gates? Don't come back until you've thought things through. Shiyu gleefully clapped and cheered. Madam doesn't know. Wherever they go now, people poke at their spines behind their backs. I propped my chin on my hand. My thoughts no longer on Lin Huai. Because Lin seemed to be avoiding me. Before I even got up, he had already left. When I finally couldn't stay awake and went to sleep, he still hadn't returned. Moreover, he slept in the study every day, which vexed me to no end. Until this day, after downing 3 pots of strong tea, I finally intercepted him in the courtyard. Husband, you are back. His expression shifted slightly, as if I were some terrible monster. I looked puzzled. You don't want to see me. He quickly shook his head. Then you don't like me. He froze. I took 2 steps forward. He took 1 step back. I took 3 more steps. He retreated 2 more. I was so angry I secretly gritted my teeth, but then recalled the hazy scenes I saw after dying in my previous life. At that time my soul hadn't dispersed, and I saw him sitting before my grave for 3 days and 3 nights. Chiyun, I am sorry. I didn't know you lived so miserably. If I had known earlier, I would have snatched you away rather than let you marry into that family. From his murmurs, I finally understood that the boy I met at the Duke's mansion when I was young was not Lin Huai, but Lin Lin. I was 8, then when the Zhao family had just arrived in the capital. Mother brought me along to attend the Duchess's banquet. She instructed me, don't cause trouble, don't cry or make a fuss, and never get into disputes with others. I kept her words in mind, and only dared to swing alone on the swing in the backyard, swinging and swinging. Which family's young lady are you? Why are you here alone? Let me take you somewhere fun. The boy in fine clothes, a head taller than me, smiled at me, his words full of goodwill. I was young and naive, thinking I had found a playmate, so I followed him. Who knew he would take me to a deserted rockery and pin me directly against the rocks? I panicked and screamed instinctively. Go ahead and scream. If you attract people here, your reputation will be ruined too. Let's see who would still dare to want you then. I remembered my mother's words, holding back my tears, not daring to make another sound. Please, let me go. His hands wrapped around my waist, moving closer and closer still. As long as you behave, I won't tell anyone about what happened today. I was so scared my mind went blank, and despite using all my strength, I couldn't resist him at all. Restraining my hands was too easy for him. He could even free one hand to tug at my clothes. I closed my eyes in despair, thinking I was going to die. I could only pray in my heart, begging heaven to help me, begging all the gods. Perhaps the gods really did hear my plea for help. The weight pressing on me suddenly disappeared, replaced by a splash. Simone had fallen into the water. When I opened my eyes, I saw another boy standing in front of me. The one who had been pressing on me was struggling in the water, crying and screaming hysterically. Help. Save me. Scream again, and I'll smash a rock on your head. The vicious voice combined with the rock raised high scared the other party into immediate silence. I collapsed limply on the ground, trembling all over, not daring to look anymore. Tidy up your clothes before going back. Pretend today's incident never happened, and no one is allowed to speak of it. He helped me up, and I fled in a panic without choosing my path. Afterward, I fell seriously ill. Only after waking up did I secretly inquire about the person who saved me that day. In my previous life, I always thought the person who saved me was Lin Huai, because the place where the incident happened was Lin Huai's courtyard, and I couldn't see that person's face clearly at the time, only his back. Lin Lin had grown up in an estate outside since childhood, constantly subjected to harsh treatment. Although he was a few years older than Lin Huai, their heights were about the same back then. It wasn't until Lin Lin mentioned that incident at my grave in my previous life that I suddenly realized the truth. Indeed, how could the deity of my youth be someone as selfish and cowardly as Lin Huai? We'll talk about this later, don't overthink it. Get some rest early. Before I could come back to my senses, Lin Lin had already headed toward the study. Shiyu came over. Madam, how about trying another method, such as such as wearing something thinner? Or, Shiyu's face turned the color of pig liver as she directly stuffed a book into my arms. I froze, opened it for a glance, then quickly closed it. Although I had just gotten married, I had been with Lin Huai many times in my previous life. He liked to torment me, or rather, deliberately torture me. You looked down on Huanyan's status, but now how are you any better than her? You were just born slightly better than her. What are you pretending to be a chaste woman for? He choked my neck, forcing me into different positions, in different places. Even when he was being intimate with my half-sister, he also made me wait beside them, deliberately tormenting me, Jiyun. I didn't expect Lin to come back after leaving. I was so startled that the book instantly fell to the ground, and by the time I squatted down to pick it up, it was already in his hands. Don't look. It was too late. He flipped it open and glanced at it. His gaze fell on my face. Then he quickly turned his head away. I was so ashamed, I wished I could disappear on the spot. Go back to the room. Lin's voice became hoarse. His hand froze in midair, wanting to touch me but not touching. I fled to the room as if running for my life, and after closing the door, I only felt steam rising from the top of my head. Jaehyun opened the door. Outside the door, Lin's voice came through. I didn't move. After a while, thinking he had left, I carefully opened the door, but Lin was still standing there. Sorry. He apologized helplessly, his fingertip falling on my face. I just haven't recovered yet. I was worried you would regret it in the future, so I didn't dare touch you for so long. I stood there stunned, and Lin tentatively embraced me. Seeing that I didn't resist, he tightened his arms further, enveloping me entirely in his presence. It is my fault. I wasn't brave enough. Jun already took the first step, yet I was still cowering. The Crown Prince was right. I was too hesitant about this matter, not as decisive as you. I nuzzled against him and said sullenly, the book wasn't something I wanted to read. I'm okay, I understand. I am serious. I was a bit annoyed. He let out a muffled laugh. This should have been for me to read. I was too embarrassed to say anything more, when Lin suddenly carried me toward the room. The man's gaze fell on my face, bright and clear, yet tinged with a faint blush. May I? My heart stirred slightly, not knowing that such matters still required asking for a woman's consent. Jaehyun. He buried his face in my neck, his warm and soft words making my whole body tremble. I heard my own voice, impossibly soft. Yes. I consummated my marriage with Lin. Even when I woke up, it still felt unreal. I stared at the bed canopy for a long while, thinking about last night's scenes. He would ask for my opinion, always paying attention to my feelings, rather than being a wild bull just venting. The feeling of being cherished spread throughout my body, making me feel light all over. Awake. The voice from beside me suddenly snapped me back to reality. You didn't go to court? Day off today. He sat down naturally by the bedside, his palm resting on my shoulder. I had someone prepare food. Want to rest a bit more, or eat something first. Hungry. I buried my face in his palm and nuzzled it, then propped myself up. Only later did I learn that Lin was afraid I still had Lin Huai in my heart. Afraid I would regret it. He had been giving me chances to back out all along. Every day, I came back on edge, terrified that Jaehyun wouldn't be here. That day when I saw no one in the room, I felt so lost. But then when I saw you on the swing in the courtyard, it was like things had turned around. I brought up things from when I was young. How come you never mentioned it afterwards? It wasn't a good thing for you, so naturally I couldn't bring it up. Better if you forgot. I thought about how everyone said General Lin was cold-faced and iron-blooded, but clearly that wasn't the case. His thoughts were so delicate, his character so upright. All right, stop looking. Lin covered my eyes with his palm, his voice turning hoarse. I took a step back, and he would take 2 steps forward until he had me wrapped in his embrace. Feeling his stiff body, I let out a muffled laugh. I thought he didn't like it, but turns out just one look was all it took for him to lose control. The smile hadn't yet left my face when my lips were already seized. Lin propped one hand on the table, wrapped the other around my waist, and pressed forward. I can't resist Madam's teasing. The next time I saw Ku Huanyan was 3 months later. Her belly was swollen, dressed as a married woman hurrying out of a pawn shop. When she saw me, she was visibly stunned for a moment, resentment flashing in her eyes. Are you satisfied now? What does it have to do with me? I was about to leave, but she grabbed my arm. What man doesn't have 3 wives and 4 concubines? If you had nodded and let me in the door, would I have fallen to this state? Zhao Jun, how vicious your heart is. But don't worry, I am carrying Huai Lang's flesh and blood, and in a while, he'll come take me back. From what she said, did that mean Lin Huai couldn't bear to give up his position as heir of the Duke's mansion, and had returned to the residence? Without me as an excuse, didn't he abandon Ku Huanyan all the same? As for the child, my gaze fell on Ku Huanyan's belly, and I said indifferently, "Since you know men all have 3 wives and 4 concubines, you should know even better that as long as there is nothing wrong with his body as the young lord heir of the Duke's mansion, he'll have many, many children in the future. Yours will be the eldest, perhaps he still finds it precious and novel now. But what about in a few more years?" Ku Huanyan's face suddenly turned several shades paler. "What do you mean by that?" "He was willing to give up marrying you for me. He loves me." I glanced at her with pity. "Yes, he loves you. But you still can't compare to the position of heir, and you can never become the mistress of the Duke's mansion." Ku Huanyan should have understood this long ago. That day she made such a scene, all to prove that Lin Huai cared more about her. She wanted to secure a better position before he got married. Unfortunately, her schemes came to nothing. Reality soon taught them a harsh lesson. Lin Huai's self-proclaimed deep affection was worthless in the face of real-world gossip and the Duke's mansion's glory. Why must sister make things so difficult for people? A familiar voice came, and I looked over. My illegitimate younger sister appeared with a beaming smile, and upon meeting, amiably held Ku Huanyan's hand. Our legitimate sister has always been proud and noble, looking down on those of lower birth than her. Don't take it to heart. I raised my eyebrows, my gaze moving back and forth between the two. I suspected my illegitimate sister hadn't heard my conversation with her, and thus still didn't know Ku Huanyan's identity. Just then, Lin Huai came looking from a nearby shop. "Jiyu, this is for you." He tenderly placed the hairpin on my illegitimate sister's hair bun, then nodded with great satisfaction. "It looks beautiful. Only you are worthy of it." But soon his expression froze, because he saw me, and also saw Kuan-Yin, Huai Lang. The moment Kuan-Yin's sorrowful voice came out, the guilt in Lin Huai's eyes deepened. Meanwhile, my illegitimate sister seemed to finally realize who this person before her was, and when her gaze fell on her belly, her face immediately darkened. She flung off Lin Huai's hand and loudly questioned, "So this is what you meant by the child is already gone?" I raised my eyebrow and unconsciously took 2 steps to the side, found a good spot to continue watching the show. My illegitimate sister slapped Ku Huanyan across the face. "You despicable creature! Aren't all the men in Zhai Shunlu enough for you? Do you have to steal someone else's man? If you like men so much, this young lady can grant your wish and send you back there." Enough. Lin Huai suppressed his anger, but seeing the red mark on Ku Huanyan's face, he was quite furious. He glanced at my illegitimate sister again, took a deep breath and said, "Look at yourself, making a scene in public like this. Do you have any bearing of a noble lady at all? She is carrying this young lord's child after all. It is not your place to interfere." My illegitimate sister's eyes instantly reddened. "You clearly promised my father." "So what?" Lin Huai simply gave up all pretense and said indifferently, "Lord Zhao also has times when he needs my help. You'd better put away those scheming thoughts. Otherwise, if the marriage falls through, neither of us will look good." He gave his warning, held Ku Huanyan's hand, and glanced at me thoughtfully. "If only you had half the understanding of your legitimate sister." "What the hell, scumbag?" Enduring my illegitimate sister's venomous glare, I said irritably, "Young Lord Lin is the most understanding, getting his mistress pregnant, before even getting married." Lin Huai choked, let out a cold snort and left. I didn't expect Lin Huai would come looking for me again. "Did you also experience rebirth?" Without waiting for my answer, he continued, "I've investigated thoroughly. The news about Huanyan's pregnancy, you are the one who had it spread. Zhao Jiyun, in our past life, I wronged you. After you passed away, I was filled with regret, too. After rebirth, I wanted to mend the rift from our past life. And after placating Huanyan, I'd live a good life with you. I never intended to let her replace you. Really. He spoke with such conviction, so utterly sincere. I nearly threw up this morning's breakfast. I don't know what young Lord Lin is talking about. You are blocking my way, please step aside. Lin Huai didn't budge at all. Tell me if he knew you chose him just to avoid me, knew everything that happened between us in our past life, would he still want you? I suddenly froze, staring at him in disbelief. He couldn't help but let out a soft laugh. I knew it. You wouldn't break off the engagement for no reason. Lin Huai stepped forward, and I hurriedly stepped back. My gaze gradually turned cold as I said indifferently, "Tales of ghosts and gods, is young Lord Lin really using that to deceive people? Do you think my husband would believe it?" He froze, apparently realizing Lin wouldn't believe him either, a flash of annoyance crossing his face. "You'll regret this." Lin Huai left in a fit of rage. A few days later, my father came to visit along with my mother. Mother actually knelt directly on the ground, but the moment her knees touched the floor, I knelt down with her. She and father both froze, exchanging a glance. I said coldly, "Is mother certain she wants to speak this way?" She only slowly got up after receiving father's nod. Shiyu also hurriedly helped me up. "Your marriage with General Lin doesn't count," father said in a deep voice. "Without parental approval or a matchmaker's arrangement, this is nothing but a secret liaison. Today your mother and I came here to take you back." "Oh, didn't father publicly declare he had no such daughter as me? You?" He glared furiously, his face full of shock. Mother cried out even more. "How did you become like this? Give me back my daughter. Who on earth are you?" In my past life, she cried out the same way, when I was gravely ill and dragged myself home on my last breath to see her. She wailed that I had ruined her reputation. "Why are you so useless? Your concubine-born sister has already given birth to a son and a daughter, yet you haven't even laid a single egg. Now your father's concubine is about to climb over my head and lord over me. What did you even come back for?" She cursed me for being as stupid as a pig, not knowing how to win people's hearts. She said I wasn't virtuous enough, which was why Lin Huai didn't treat me well, but she simply couldn't see my body on the verge of collapse. I left disheartened, and in the vast capital, I had nowhere to go. "Please leave." I closed my eyes briefly, suppressing my unwillingness and hatred, and coldly showed them out. But just then, I happened to see Lin coming in from outside. He looked at the scene inside the room with a face full of surprise. "General Lin, my child is indeed not worthy of you. Someone who disrespects their parents, are you sure you want to stay?" Mother's eyes were red from crying, dumping such a huge load of blame on my head. My eyes were red-rimmed. But Lin had already come to stand by my side. "I too have no father or mother, same as her. If we must speak of worthiness, it is I who am not worthy of her." As his words fell, his gentle gaze landed on me. "I have already spoken to His Majesty about our matter, and he has agreed. The Empress Dowager even bestowed 2 bolts of brocade and a pair of jade ruyi yesterday, saying my wife is sensible and generous, a rare find." Father and mother were both stunned. Lin cupped his hands toward them. "His Highness the Crown Prince is currently seeking a study companion. If the 2 elders don't mind, I can still put in a word before His Highness. Young Master Zhao has outstanding literary talent. He could certainly give it a try." Although being a protfefe of the Eastern Palace cannot compare to directly entering officialdom, the future prospects are still boundless. Father's expression shifted slightly. He looked deeply at Lin before cupping his hands to express his thanks. After they left, I couldn't help but speak up. "You didn't have to do this. They are still your parents after all. If you don't want to see them in the future, then don't. But if things get too ugly, it would only be detrimental to your reputation. I don't want others to misunderstand you." He told me all this very seriously, focused and sincere. I lowered my eyes. But they weren't good to me. Lin Lin pulled me into his embrace. No matter, my parents weren't good to me either, but I'll be good to you. My parents never came again. Lin Huai's scheme didn't succeed. Naturally, it was also impossible for him to secure a future for his younger brother. Later, it was Lin Lin who said a few words in front of the crown prince, letting the younger brother go to the Eastern Palace. The marriage arrangement between Lin Huai and the concubine-born sister was also broken off. The concubine-born sister couldn't stand it and exposed the fact that Ku Huanyan's child was still there. She also brought it up among the noble ladies with embellishments, making Duke Lin lose all face. The Duchess gave her a bowl of abortion medicine, making Ku Huanyan completely lose the child. I heard they made their move while young Master Lin wasn't around. When he came back, the bed was covered in blood. Young Master Lin was so angry he smashed things everywhere, and the Duchess fainted from sheer rage. Fortunately, Madame didn't marry into that family back then. Otherwise, who knows what situation she'd be in now. She now loved inquiring about the Duke's mansion's affairs the most, and couldn't wait to tell me after coming back. I was very curious how Lin Huai would choose in this life, but the result left me somewhat disappointed. He broke off with Ku Huanyan completely. I encountered Ku Huanyan at the entrance of East Street Alley. She was wearing light gauze, leaning lazily against the wall. A man passing by took an extra look and was immediately slapped hard by his wife. Instead of being the top courtesan at Zhaichun House properly, she just had to worm her way into noble families. Did she really think she could fly up to the branches and become a phoenix? Sighs could be heard, but Ku Huanyan just paused for a moment, smiling with a numb expression. A few days later, Lin Lin mentioned an amusing matter. The heir of the Duke's mansion has been replaced. Seeing my puzzled look, he patiently explained. I heard the physician diagnosed that Lin Huai cannot bear children. He was drugged by someone. I was stunned. And somehow, Ku Huanyan's face suddenly surfaced in my mind. A few days later, a woman died in a rundown temple in the west of the city. I heard that when she died, there wasn't a decent piece of cloth on her body, bruises all over, only that face vaguely showing traces of her once city-toppling beauty. She was targeted by the beggars nearby. The old women on the street spat. Then, finding the topic unlucky, changed to something else. It was at this moment that Lin Huai appeared before me. He had already become somewhat unhinged. His gaze fixed dead on my belly, his tone sinister. You are pregnant. It is his child. In your past life, you had no connection with him whatsoever. Why? I instinctively shielded my belly and stepped back. Lin Huai let out a scornful laugh. Would you say it is fate? In my past life, I forced the sterilization drug down your throat, and in this life, it is my turn. That bitch Ku Huanyan, she'll stop at nothing to climb the social ladder. She doesn't love me at all. I was foolish to think I could find a soulmate, a beautiful woman who understood me, and that my life would be complete. I never imagined she would turn out to be such a shameless and despicable woman. I ignored his rambling, secretly regretting that I shouldn't have let Shiyu go buy chestnut cakes just now. My father and mother are the same. They abandoned me after learning I couldn't bear children. That bitch Zhao Juyu, she claims to love me so much, yet she can't even tolerate my child and is determined to ruin my reputation. They all approached me and treated me well, only because of my status. I figured it out now. Only you, Juyun, truly care about me. Can we start over? Madness and obsession flickered in Lin Huai's eyes as he smiled hideously. I was also at fault before, so as long as you abort the child, I'll let bygones be bygones. We'll rekindle our relationship. He tried to grab me, scaring me into turning around and running. Zhao Juyun! Juyun! Even after crashing into Lin Lin's embrace, I was still trembling all over. He soothingly pulled me into his arms, while the mansion guards beside him had already restrained Lin Huai. Lin Lin, little uncle, do you know what the woman in your arms is like in bed? She has a red mole on her back. Have you seen it? Do you know how wanton she looks? This is my leftover plaything. Little uncle is still as lowly as ever. actually wanting even a woman like this. Lin Lin immediately kicked him in the chest. As Lin Huai's face filled with terror, Lin Lin stepped on his face. For slandering this general's wife, young Master Lin can go to Dali Temple and give an explanation. 1 shikan ago, the second young miss of the Zhao family was killed. Last night, Ku Huanyan was killed at the abandoned temple in the west of the city. Both cases are being investigated together. As soon as the words fell, Lin Huai was roughly dragged away. Lin Lin held me tightly as I stood there, utterly shaken. It is all right now. He is just unwilling to accept it and making wild accusations. Don't take it to heart. But the mole on my back is real. Just a few days ago, Lin Lin had seen it and kissed it there. It looked so pretty. The intimacy from that moment had now become a nightmare. After careful deliberation, I chose to confess about my past life. But Lin Lin's eyes reddened. So that means, in my past life, I didn't do well enough, and failed to find you sooner. Fortunately, Zhiyun was so brave in this life, and found me first. Lin Huai was burdened with murder cases. Duke Lin came bearing thorns to plead guilty, but was harshly rebuked by His Majesty. An imperial edict was directly issued, stripping away the noble title. Only later did I learn that His Majesty had long been displeased with the Lin family's attitude toward Lin Lin. He had endured in silence for so many years, simply lacking a good excuse. As the Duke of Lin's household fell from grace, Lin Lin instead rose 3 ranks within 5 years. When father brought mother to visit again, I didn't see them. Latter, father found a concubine-born daughter from a branch family. Attempting to help consolidate his position while I was pregnant with my second child, he was driven out by Lin Lin with a darkened face. This general only has Zhuyin as his wife in this lifetime. Please leave, Lord Zhao. Zhuyin won't be happy to see you. Shiyu spoke imitating Lin Lin's tone. Then sighed. How did Madam have such good taste back then? I was stunned for a moment, recalling his drunken murmurs in front of my grave back then. Actually, that day at the Duke's residence, I wasn't happy. They didn't welcome me, even despised me. Until I saw you in the backyard. I wanted to talk to you, but someone beat me to it. I searched for quite a while before finding you. At that moment, I really wanted to kill him. How dare he? But I couldn't. I didn't have the ability yet. Zhiyun, I am so despicable. I always kept my eyes on you. Always asked the Crown Prince about matters in the capital, just hoping to hear a little bit of news about you from lengthy descriptions. So, you were getting engaged, and to Lin Huai no less. Unfortunately, Duke Lin had just been forced to acknowledge me reluctantly. I wasn't welcome in the residence, and I didn't want to see you being loving with him, so I bought a house early and fled. If I had known earlier, had I known he would treat you like this, I would have risked my life to not let you marry him. My soul only lingered for 3 days, but I am incredibly grateful that heaven gave me a chance to start over.